Okay, Loki episode 3.
It was called Lamentis 1, I think.
The planet.
It was the moon. I don't know the logistics of a planet
Crashing into
a moon felt weird, but
it felt the other way around.
Yeah.
Although, if you're interested in a story where the moon crashes into a planet and causes destruction, buy Fairytale on Amazon.com. Remember I had that dream?
Yeah.
And it's one of the scariest dreams I've ever had, but the moon was like crashing into the planet. And I wrote it into Fairytale. This episode actually, I think most people just loved it. Did you like it?
I did. I do feel that feeling where I'm like, we only have 3 episodes left.
What are we doing?
Why do we have a peace moving episode? This was not necessary. Well, it was necessary, but it was like, it didn't need to be the whole, also only 40 minutes. So it didn't need to be the entire runtime. And we lost 10 minutes of runtime.
It's the issue I've had with both WandaVision and Winter Soldier, Captain Winter Soldier,
Falcon and Winter Soldier,
where I'm like, I need to accept what it is versus what I imagined it being.
Sure.
And I realized, I was like, we were about halfway in through this episode, and I thought, oh, this is the episode.
Yep.
This is what we're doing. And as such, it took me till about that point to actually enjoy, to get on board.
I mean, I was having a lot of fun with all the like flourishes that they were doing. Like, I mean, Tom Hiddleston's performance as Loki continues to be just gangbusters. It's so funny. He's so, it's like given his sort of silliness a chance to shine, which I think is really fun because at his base, Loki, the character, is not really a villain. Again, Loki in, mythology is a trickster. He's not like evil. And so I think it's much more fun to just watch him be sort of like an unbridled idiot.
Mm-hmm.
It's like very fun for me.
This isn't negative, but it just feels strange. Like that, the opening to this episode did not feel like the opening to this episode.
Sure.
We have that like 5-minute scene of Sylvie inceptioning Sasha Lane. Very good, very interesting, very intriguing. But we go from that sort of like avant-garde opening.
Well, it's also,
which effectively was something we already knew.
That's the thing. It's information we already had, in which case, to me, it's sort of useless to be spending 5 minutes of our shortened runtime of this episode on that, despite how good it was.
On a very effective scene that had little to do with the actual... I mean, we got that, I guess that served the purpose, that the information we get at the end, that all the TVA employees are variants.
Right.
And Miss Minutes told us that they were created by the Timekeepers or whatever.
And they don't know that they're variants.
Mm-hmm.
Because Mobius has no idea. Mm-hmm. He believes he was just like made there. Like he only ever existed there.
But it was still, I mean, I'm only making that connection now that we're analyzing it. I didn't make it watching the episode.
Yeah.
And
wouldn't you, I mean, no, it would be so stupid and terrible, but like, what if he was Owen Wilson?
What if who was Owen Wilson?
Mobius.
Oh.
Like before what if Owen Wilson is a variant?
Sure. Well, okay, that does bring me to Sylvie. I do like her. She's dancing a fine line.
I like her more in this episode than I did in the previous one because she only had a couple seconds of stuff, but I didn't think I was going to like her as much as I do. Mm-hmm. And I actually do like her quite a lot.
I'm not entirely sure I understand what she is.
She's a Loki.
So from an alternate timeline?
Yeah.
Okay, so Loki just looks like, or just is.
Right. I mean, we talked about it in the previous episode because they were showing all the different versions of Loki that have existed.
I remember that. I remember you saying that, but I guess I was thinking of them as like disguises Loki was capable of donning.
No. They're like alternate Lokis who have also breached the sacred timeline.
So the implication is that if I were in the MCU, there would be different versions of me in different timelines where one I would be like a crazy bodybuilder and another I'd be like a sexy lady and like, okay. But I'm the same soul, or I serve the same role in each timeline?
Well, not even necessarily.
Am I going way too?
I think you're going too deep. You just are like, if there's another There's another universe out there where I never moved back to Washington, D.C. So we both exist, but we're not the same.
But so that's what I'm used to with a multiverse.
Yeah.
Is it is me on a different path. But what they're seeming to suggest is that it's different people on the same path.
Well, they're not different people. It's still Loki. It's just like, had the cards been shuffled a different way. If you had been born a girl or I had been born a boy, we would still be who we are, but we're in a different package.
That's where, I mean, I'll accept it, but that doesn't make sense to me.
It's magic. It's timey-wimey magic.
Well, it's not, because magic is a thing that is separate from, regardless. I will try my best to accept it, but it doesn't make sense to me.
If I'm wrong, someone please let us know in the comments. That's what it felt like to me, so.
Because I feel like there's another version where I'm wealthy, there's another version where I'm like, I don't know, poor, whatever. But this is like, there's another version where I'm like a Chinese lady. And it's like, well, how is that me?
Okay, I see what you mean. I don't know.
Like, I don't know how that's me. So that's where I'm confused. Maybe it is the soul.
Then maybe it's like your insides are what makes you is the same.
So, anyways, so I do like Sylvie because her name's not even Loki. I don't get it.
It was Loki. She changed her name. It's an alias. She says it in the episode.
So he's calling her by her alias, even though he knows who she is.
She specifically said, "Don't call me Loki."
Oh, okay. I don't want to dead name her. So,
well, it's not necessarily that, but she doesn't like it. It's like not who she wants to be.
I
guess it's not that then.
Loki did the knife thing.
It's my favorite thing he does. He also got all disheveled and had like a loose tie and his button up rolled up to his elbows at the end of the episode. It was all thumbs up for me.
They had some good character stuff. We got a little bit of Frigga conversation. I would like a little bit more. I'm still fascinated by the concept that she is a witch and what that means in this or apparently every other world. Because the implication is she got it somewhere else. Or she was born with it and it is considered taboo or unique.
Unique. I wouldn't necessarily call it taboo.
I think it's taboo because of the way the dark elf screamed witch at her.
Well, it's potentially taboo to the dark elves. I don't think it's taboo to the Asgardians.
So I want to know more about do the people know she's a witch? I want to know more about that mythos because even within this, with Loki and Sylvie, they were talking about, he was like, my mother taught it to me, where she was like, I learned it on my own. So it's like, do you have to have a predisposition for magic? Are we dealing with a magician's thing here?
Oh,
or
maybe.
Can anyone just will themselves into it? Or again,
no, I think you have to. Yes. But I think you have to have it. I think it has to be in you.
I find it interesting, and I want to know.
Because they're both Lokis and they both have magic, but they manifest in different ways.
Because also, again, this is purely conjecture. Yeah. Conjecture. The implication is that it is a skill to be honed, so Loki could presumably become more magical.
Yeah. He could gain access to
more powerful.
He could gain access to more powers. He could probably, if Sylvie were to teach him, learn the mind melding thing. Enchanting, they kept calling it.
There's an element of commentary that keeps rearing its head in the show that I don't love, and it's not present enough for me to truly get bogged down in it.
Yeah, it just is like the heart of this show feels so much sillier.
Considering that we're dealing with cosmic timelines and magic.
Sure, but it's like with Loki at the core of it and this the hilarity of the bureaucracy and all of this other stuff, it's it's very silly and a little more effervescent despite the potential stakes. And so to put something like class, basically there's not enough lifeboats off this moon that the planet is crashing into and the rich people are getting on the lifeboat. I mean, they all die regardless, but that just is sort of that's commentary that I don't feel fits the rest of the tone of the show.
Especially because it's not like our characters mention it. We get a spoken line of dialogue.
They're letting all the rich people on.
From a day player with a close-up that it personalizes them just a hair too much.
Just like the hurricane people last week.
It was really weird. I would just rather have that be off screen, an assumption. Like, you can say, like, oh, some 4,000 people were killed in this event.
Yeah.
But I don't want to see the minutes before saying, think of my baby.
Yeah.
Like, it just brings...
Because it puts that taste in your mouth where, like, from Titanic, where it literally is Billy Zane going, I'm all she has left in the world about the baby that he stole.
It's odd. I did appreciate the production design of this episode. I am relieved to have another planet that is not just Iceland or the forest.
I mean, it was like mostly CGI, but
yeah, well, it was a purple filter, which at least it looked otherworldly.
It was a purple filter, but of Iceland.
They weren't nervous enough about the meteors incessantly crashing into Earth. Like, I would be a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, same, but...
like, they were just on the train, like, and they got to a wide shot, and mountains are collapsing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, gonna fall in the tracks.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It was very avant-garde. And we got a fun scene running through the city while things are apocalypsing.
Yeah.
And it mimicked a one shot.
shot.
It wasn't, but it had the feeling of that. And I guess that big tower that collapsed was the Ark.
Yeah.
Which, what were they waiting for?
I don't know.
As seems to be the case, I'm enjoying this, but it's not what I was expecting, and probably not what I would do given.
But to be fair, we also did just have a conversation, like in the first or second episode, where you were like, I'm gonna really try to just let it wash over me and not get too bogged down in the details. And then the first half of this episode was talking about like, what are the other Lokis?
Well, I don't understand.
Well,
and I said, I reached a point halfway through where I was like, oh, okay, I'll allow this to happen. But Owen Wilson was not in this episode. Gugu was for about 5 seconds.
I don't get her character. I don't get it.
Still suspicious to me.
If something doesn't happen, like, who was it? There was somebody in WandaVision, like Emma Caulfield in WandaVision, where we were like, she's got to be something, and she just straight up was not.
Yeah, but Dottie wasn't even like a series regular, and Gugu is.
Yeah,
it's like,
I don't.
I think we will get something from her. Either she will be in one of the movies coming up, or she's the villain.
Okay, if she's gonna be in a movie, then that's fine. But if it's the final episode and then all of a sudden she's straight up evil, I'm gonna be like, you did not lay the groundwork for that.
I mean, I'm suspicious of her,
She's suspicious, straight up evil.
Well, we got 3 more episodes.
Yeah.
That I'm not I'm not quite fighting, but I liked his fireworks.
Oh my god, so cool. That whole, again, it's like, I don't totally feel the necessity for it being such a long scene, and so what felt kind of drawn out, but like their whole conversation about like what is love, and like when she said love is hate, and he like fucking got the scroll.
I'm so glad he made fun of her. I was like,
that is some weak fucking sauce.
This is no grief is nothing but love persevering.
Yeah, no.
She hated him.
Maybe love is hate.
Remember that. What was that? Love is hate.
Oh, piss off.
It was very funny though.
It was very much like a middle schooler who just watched WandaVision and was like,
yeah. But the fact that it was meant to be a joke, I did like that quite a lot. And then he got absolutely hammered and started singing in Asgardian, which was hot and also very Lord of the Rings-esque.
Well, we got hard confirmation that Loki is bisexual.
We did.
It was subtle. It was a little bit blink and you missed it, but it was there.
He, though, said the words. She was like, do you have a princess waiting for you, or maybe a prince? And he says, a bit of both.
Really. I imagine it's the same for you.
You're a prince. Must have been would-be princesses. Or perhaps another prince.
A bit of both. I suspect the same as you.
So
Loki fucks is what we're saying.
Well, I don't want to over applaud. Like, no. I don't want to give them too much credit, especially because this is an American TV series. It will not bleed over into the movies as long as the Chinese box office has anything to say about it.
Oh, sure. That's fair. I was going to say they're just, even on this show, even if like, you know, they've all basically said they're only one season apiece, but like even if there were another season of Loki, we are never going to see Tom Hiddleston kiss a boy as Loki.
No. But I feel compelled to acknowledge that they acknowledged it. It is canon.
Yeah.
As well, it reminds me of Once Upon a Time, where they had Red Riding Hood, Ruby, and Dorothy as lesbians, and it was weak sauce. Those are not main Disney characters. Sure. However, there was a very touching scene with Snow White blessing the relationship, and that's not nothing to have the grand dame of the Disney canon give her blessing to a same-sex relationship. And again, these are baby steps.
Yeah.
But there's also something to be said for baby steps.
Yeah, it just is like
incremental little bits at a time, tricking people into.
Yes, but that being said, we're far past that on so many other platforms that it does sort of feel like, why are we so behind on this like juggernaut?
It's almost offensive.
It's almost offensive to be like, oh, if you parse that correctly, he's bisexual, and it's just like, yeah, but like.
Or it's like the fact that that you're acknowledging it in this way means that you know. It's like you can't even feign ignorance.
Because it's like how many shows, how many movies are we watching where there's just like full gay sex, and I'm just like,
I mean, there's not full sex anywhere.
Well,
which is one of our.
You know what I mean.
That is one point in the DC column is that DC fucks.
DC does fuck. Not Batman though.
Oh, he fucks. Just missionary at 9:30 at night.
He fucks, but it's not good for her.
I mean, it could be. It's not focused on her.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't get dirty.
Yeah. No.
But, I mean, Superman gets into the bath with Lois Lane. Like, so, anyways, like I said, it is there. Whoever their theremin player is getting that coin.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. I love it.
Yeah,
but
toss a coin to your theremin player for sure. I have meant to say something about the theremin the first two episodes too, and I just think it's funny that like that's like the main instrument that they're like relying on. It's like the hurdy-gurdy in Black Sails, where it's just like such a cool sound. Yeah.
The whole I do feel compelled. I feel like I should say the whole crux of this episode was they need to charge their time pad.
Well, he
this is
like,
very The Last Jedi. We need gas.
Yeah, it kind of is. Especially because they're literally both wizards. Like, what are we doing here?
It's like, do you know how many Family Guy time travel episodes I've seen? Never once were we having to charge the time pad.
So basically, it's like, I guess what it seems like is that it has only so many jumps, and he like jumped them away because she was like causing havoc at the TVA. And then it would like ran out of juice like after that. And so they were trying to charge it. And then it was like totally disintegrated. So they were trying to get on the Ark and now they're stuck. So
on a planet that is currently
on a moon that a planet is currently crashing into.
Let me retcon it.
I mean, I want to desperately.
Looked great.
Yeah,
so.
It looked amazing. It was very cool.
It was fun. Yeah. I'm for it.
Me too. Mostly A+.
One thumb up.
I love everything about Tom Hiddleston. So. That's singing and
you'd watch him do the Charleston for 39 minutes.
I would watch him do whatever he wanted for 30 minutes. I watched High Rise and it was not my favorite thing, but I did it.
Go to our website and watch our other stuff.
Yeah.
We have Drag Race that will be airing concurrently. And our coverage of season 7 of Drag Race is on the Patreon if you want to support us, much like the theremin player.
Yeah. Toss a coin.
All of us are just trying to get coins.
Yeah. Toss a coin to your YouTuber.
So I'm watching.com and everything links out from there.
Yay!
Including the book that you can buy and read about a moon crashing into a planet.
I mean, it's not about that.
It happens.
It happens. Sort of.